soft computing paper, and the code is CS6012, and we are going to focus the first unit of this paper. And you know very well that Anna University is scheduled this online examination from 24th onwards, and because of so many requests from our students, right, I have planned to focus this subject. So when you say a soft computing, right, before going to discuss about unit 1, when you say soft computing, right, what is the difference between hard computing and soft computing? So as far as hard computing is concerned, we know very well that it is totally deadline based, or if there is any error, then the tolerance level will be very less, or we can say that if time sensitive applications, right, focus, or it is coming under the hard computing. So that is, if suppose 10 o'clock task has to be completed, then it has to be completed 10 o'clock. The real time applications are coming under the category of hard computing. But as far as soft computing is concerned, right? So if suppose we are not having a full data, only 70 percentage data is there, and remaining 30 percentage data we can have based on some assumption, we can fill those data and we can perform a or find out the solution. So when you get a solution, so we cannot say that it is 100% correct. So there are certain aspects or there are certain application which doesn't have any results, right? So for those type of applications, we wanted to get some results. It is not necessary for you to get 100% result. At least you can reach the maximum, that is a 90 percentage result. It is also acceptable one. So those type of application, right, which is not focused on deadline, right? So for example, it has to be happened at 10 o'clock. If it is happened at 10:05, it is also acceptable. That is, even the time is exceeding, we can accept. Or the partial data, or we will be having a vague data. So then also we can process and we can find out some solution. So nothing is better than having something, right? That is a concept behind soft computing, right? So I don't have any result for this type of applications. Instead of saying like that, so I'll be having some result, but I cannot have 100%, right? The accuracy of the system will be only 90%. So for those type of applications, we are focusing this soft computing paper. This is the basic concept behind this soft computing. So if there is any for unfilled data or vague information, even then we can process and we can find out some result by using a soft computing. So when you talk about this soft computing, the first unit, generally the soft computing is coming under, right, three important areas are focused under the soft computing. One is artificial neural network, second one is a fuzzy logic, and third one is a genetic algorithm. The same three concepts introduction is dealt in this first unit. So we know very well that we are having an artificial intelligence, and then it deals with fuzzy logic and also genetic algorithm. So here, as far as this artificial neural network is concerned, we know very well that this artificial neural network is used for learning and training purpose. So the purpose of this artificial neural network is learning as well as training purpose. So where we are going to discuss the introduction about artificial neural network. So what are the associated characteristics and different types of learning methods, and what is the evolution of neural network, basic models, and the important technology that are associated with neural network where we can use this neural network concept, that is application, all those things we are going to discuss under artificial neural network. The second one is a fuzzy logic. So we know very well that, so we will be dealing with Boolean operators. So what is the meaning of Boolean result? Either it is true or false. So there are certain application will deals information between this true and false, that is 0 and 1. So for those type of applications we can go for fuzzy logic. And the last one is a genetic algorithm. So we can apply, there are optimization and searching techniques in genetic algorithm, and we will see what is the basic concepts about genetic algorithm, how it is correlated with human being. That is very important. How your genes and patterns, genome patterns are analyzed, and how it can be, that is by using a searching technique, how we can optimize these algorithm. All those things we are going to discuss under genetic algorithm, right? So as far as this first unit is concerned, we'll be focusing artificial neural network, fuzzy logic, and genetic algorithm introduction. So under this artificial neural network, these are the keywords which we wanted to focus. So introduction about artificial neural network, characteristics, learning methods, taxonomy, evolution of neural network, what are the different basic models are available, what are the important technology that it is focusing, and the application which is dealt with. Okay, so these are the things which we are going to discuss now. So here, before going to discuss about this artificial neural network, so it consists of several, the subcomputing will consist of several methodology. So I told the neural network is also coming under that is a soft computing. So here the strength of this neural network is learning as well as adaptation. So adaptation is nothing but training, right? For example, we are going to a new environment. So we'll understand the environment and we will adjust or we will modify ourselves according to the situation. That is called adaptation. So here as far as neural network is concerned, the learning and adaptation training. So first we will be learning and we are applying the learned concept, and we are going to train by modifying some, right? We will be changing ourselves. Is it not the same way? We are going to modify some parameter and we are going to get the result. So that is the concept or strength of this neural network, learning and adaptation. So as far as fuzzy set theory is concerned, fuzzy logic is concerned, so it is purely called as a knowledge representation. How we are going to apply this knowledge? By using a fuzzy if then rule, right? I told, so we wanted to get the result between 0 and 1, right? So we know very well that Boolean results are either true or false, but I need the partial information, right? How I can get? By using, by applying a fuzzy if then rule, right? There are certain conditions has to be verified, and based on that we will be getting a right information. And third one is genetic algorithm and simulated annealing. This is also called genetic algorithm, and the methodology is called simulated annealing. So here we will be using a systematic random search. So we have to do the searching process in a randomized manner. So we cannot say that, that is the reason why I told the soft computing is not focusing the accuracy of the output. So it is trying to improvise the output. So I cannot say that my system will give you 100% result. So we'll be using some searching technique or the different methodology. Either we can combine anything, right? For example, neural will be integrated with fuzzy, or fuzzy can be integrated with genetic, or neural can be integrated with genetic. Like that, in any combination we can try and we can get the output. So for example, I have taken one application, right? I'll be trying to combine neural fuzzy concept and I'll be getting a result, and I'll be getting fuzzy and genetic will be combined together, and applying to the application I'll be getting a result. So I'll be comparing these two results, and which one is better I can accept. So there is no wrong in that. So that is a flexibility of this soft computing mechanism. So it is also having a conventional AI. So you know very well that what is the meaning of conventional artificial intelligence. It is a symbolic manipulation, right? So we'll be visualizing the images. So based on the images and knowledge we are gathering, and we'll be manipulating or interpreting the output. That is called conventional artificial intelligence. So you know very well what is artificial intelligence. It is nothing but art of making a system to do some smart activity, right? We will be right giving a instruction. The human being is giving instruction to machine to perform like human being, right? So AI is the study of agent that exist in the environment and perceive and act. So here, what is the meaning of exist in environment? Right, we can take the example as human being. So how human being is behaving. So same way, this artificial intelligence will be incorporated in a machine. So it will be acting like a machine. Right, that is called machine learning. Right, machine will be acting like human being. Right, that is called as a machine learning. It is advanced version of artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence possesses large number of highly interconnected processing elements. Right. So it is not a single element or it is not associated with single parameter. Multiple number of elements are connected together to activate one function. So that elements are called as a nodes or units, or we can say it is a neurons. So whatever it may be. So either it can be called as a nodes or it is a units or it is a neurons. So here, and another important concept is it is usually operate in parallel. So the parallel architecture, right? How human brain is working parallelly, right? For example, our human brain will give instruction to pick something, right? Immediately our hand is picking. Is it not? So that parallel activity can be incorporated to machine also, right? That is the focus of this artificial neural network. So all these three, right, artificial neural network, fuzzy logic, as well as genetic, all three combined together is called as a soft computing. So here how this artificial neural network will work. So for example, you take the Navy user. So who is called a Navy user? He doesn't know anything about it, right? He will be just posting the question. He is not a technical person, right? That person is called as a Navy user. So he is interacting with the system, right? He is posting some questions and he will be getting a response. How he is getting a response? That is right provided by this artificial intelligence. So he is asking the question and this inference engine will receive those questions and with the available knowledge base. KB stands for knowledge base. It is a repository where all different types of facts and rules are stored, and from that this inference engine will extract the information, and if the information is not available in the repository or the database or the knowledge base, it can access through global database also. Right, inference engine can also interact with global database and extract the information, and it will be responded to the Navy user as a response. Right. So how this knowledge base will collect the information? So that process is called knowledge acquisition. And who is providing this knowledge acquisition? Acquisition is nothing but collecting. So here how this knowledge acquisition has been done. So there is a set of knowledge engineer and human expert will be there, and those human expert will fed the information to knowledge acquisition. In turn, it will be fed into knowledge space. So for example, I'm giving you one fruit and the Navy user is giving one fruit and asking what is this fruit. So here the inference engine will forward the information to this knowledge base, and here in this knowledge base there are set of rules and facts. So this rules and facts will identify whether this right fruit is apple or orange. So what is the meaning of facts and rules? So it will check whether it is red in color or green in color, right? What is the shape of the fruit, right? What type of that is a skin, right? Level of that particular fruit. So all these parameters or meters are called as a facts and rules. So that will be available in the knowledge base, right? Already this knowledge engineer collected information or parameter about that particular fruit, and with the help of knowledge acquisition all informations are collected. So there is no single knowledge engineer, there may be multiple knowledge engineer. One may be identified the shape, another person may be identified color, like that different informations are collected. That is called knowledge acquisition, and it will be available in the knowledge base. So from that this inference engine will extract and provide information to the knowledge base. So this process is called as a artificial neural network. So for example, if suppose the sufficient information is not available in the knowledge base, It can be extracted from other database also, right? Global database also. That is also given input to inference engine so that the user will get proper response. So this is the basic architecture how this artificial neural network will function. So here the learning is done by using a knowledge base. So adding more facts, that is because of training. Can you able to understand? I told artificial neural network is having two important focus. One is the learning and another one is called as a training. So knowledge base, we are storing, collecting information and storing in the knowledge base with the help of learning. And further optimizing, further parameter can be access from the global database, and here it will be updated in the knowledge base. That is because of training. So this is the basic concept about artificial neural network. Right? So when you talk about the characteristics of artificial neural network, so it is a neurally implemented mathematical model. So why they have compared a neurally implemented mathematical model is there is always a association between our human brain and mathematical concept. That is the reason why it is called neurally implemented mathematical model. There exists large number of interconnected processing element called neurons. So here the artificial neural network will be purely functioning based on the neural, that is the neurons are activated by using a input parameters and weight parameters. So the interconnection with their weighted linkage hold informative knowledge. The connection between the input node and the next level of node is connected through the weightage link. So we can fed input signal at the processing element through the connections and connecting weights, right? So here everything is purely based on the input value, and then it will be multiplied with weight parameter, and that will be acting as a input for the next level, hidden layer, right? Input for the hidden layer. So in this way, this all neurons will be collected together and it will give you result. So there is no single or specific neuron carries information. It is a collective behavior of the neurons. That is the reason why the brain has to be activate certain neuron to pick the what? Certain element from the hand. So the instruction, brain is activated, that is by using one neuron, and activating our hand, that is another neuron to pick the particular element. Right? So it is a collective element, not single neuron is responsible for the outcome or output. That is the important characteristics of artificial neural network. So when you talk about learning methods, so there are three important classification under learning method. One is called as a supervised learning. The second one is unsupervised learning. And third one is, again it may be a supervised learning, but it is called as a reinforcement learning. I will tell you what is the basic difference between all the three. So here, as far as supervised learning is concerned, so each input vector require a corresponding target value, so which represent the desired output. So we know very well before executing any task or any application, we know very well what is the output we wanted to achieve. The target we should know, right? Or somebody has to guide. So here in this test you wanted to get a 95% of mark. This is your target. Like that somebody has to give direction for us. Like best example is, as far as supervised learning is concerned, our teachers. Right? Students are learning and teacher will be giving a guidance. Based on the guidance of the teacher, you will be doing certain activity. That is called as a supervised learning. And another one is unsupervised learning. So here we are not having a teacher. So nobody is helping us or nobody is guiding us. And another important thing is we do not know what is the target. That is very, very important. So what is the target? This is the maximum level, right? This is the target value. This is the desired output. Like that, no parameter is available. But even then, we wanted to learn and we wanted to train and we wanted to achieve certain output. That is called as unsupervised learning. So here the swimming, right? For example, a person or a child is learning learn to swim. Is it not? It is doing by itself. Nobody is telling, right, how to swim and all. Right? He himself is doing and understanding. Right? Without any teacher, without any direction, he is doing certain tasks. That is comes under unsupervised learning. Then third one is reinforcement learning. So this learning process is similar to supervised learning, but here you will be having a right. It doesn't contain full information. We know very well that I already told. So as far as soft computing is concerned, so you don't have the entire knowledge about the concept or pattern, right? You will be having a partial information. Even then, you wanted to achieve the target. Here in reinforcement learning, so you will be having a sub target, right? So it is also called as a reward learning. So why it is called as a reward learning? For example, when you interact with your children or right in your your parent, you are asking a bike, and father is telling if you get this much of mark in your examination, I will purchase a bike. So if you achieve the target, then father will purchase a bike. Next level you are asking car. Then he will be giving certain task. Right? If you complete that one, then you will achieve the next level. Is it not? So there are intermediate levels are fixed. Based on that you will be getting a reward. If suppose if you are completing all 25 questions correct answer, you will be getting 10 marks. If you correct only 5 correct answer, you will be getting 5 marks. Then 10 marks, 15 marks. That is the level. We will be fixing multiple level to reach at the destination. Right? So that is called as a reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is a form of supervised learning because somebody has to monitor the intermediate level whether you have achieved this target or not. Best example if you take any recruitment company, they will be having a three level, right? The first level they will conduct aptitude test. The second level they will conduct technical interview. Third level they will be conducting, right, the HR interview. So here, whether you have achieved the first level, then only you will be permitted to go for second level. Is it not? That is called as a reward function. Right? That is also called as a reinforcement learning. If you are not reaching the target, again you wanted to perform the same task. Right? So these are the three different learning methodologies which are available under artificial neural network. Then there are certain important terminology that are associated with artificial neural network. I told the input parameter is there. Then we'll be having an next node is in hidden layer. Right? The connecting between these two are done by right not only the input value, it will be multiplied with weight parameter. That is the first important terminology as far as artificial neural network is concerned. So each neuron is connected to other neuron by means of directed communication link, and each communication link will be having a weight parameter. Right? So here the weight contain information about input signal. So when you multiply these two, the input parameter will be multiplied with the weight parameter. You will be getting a result that will be acting as an input for the hidden layer. Right? So the first one is weight parameter. The second one is a threshold. The threshold is a set of value based upon which final output of the network may be calculated. So what is the level of or target value? Right? Right, this month you wanted to get 95 percentage. So next month it may be 96 percentage. That value is called as a threshold value. The targeted value is called as a threshold value. Right? This threshold, based on the threshold value only, the activation function can be initiated. Right? The second parameter is threshold. What is the target level you wanted to achieve? I already told 100% is not possible as far as the subcomputing is concerned. What we are going to do is we will be maximizing the target. That is our aim. So what is the maximum target we are fixing? That is called as a threshold. This is the second parameter. And third parameter is what type of learning rule. We have seen there are three different learning rule, is it not? Supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. So we are going to identify which type of learning rule we are going to apply. So it is represented by means of A. So here why we are selecting a learning rule? It is used to control the amount of weight at each step of learning. So based on the type of learning, right, the parameter will change. So always this learning rate will be ranging from 0 to 1, right? It is between 0.75, 0.8 like that. Then another important parameter or terminology is momentum factor. So here, what is the meaning of momentum factor? So convergence is made faster if a momentum factor is added to the weight updation process. So here it is an external factor that is called as a momentum factor. So based on that, we'll be achieving the convergence. The number of level of iterations we are doing, right? That is purely based on this momentum factor, right? And this especially when you do back propagation algorithm, when you use this back propagation algorithm, right, this momentum factor is very very important, right? So we know very well that will be again and again there are 18 steps in back propagation algorithm, right? So all the 18 steps when you completed for single iteration, so like that how many number of iteration you wanted to perform, when we can stop, right? This is the convergence factor, right? If the previous iteration value and next iteration value is same, we can stop, or we have fixed some threshold, the target, if we reach the target also we can stop. So here the momentum factor is, right, very very important as far as back propagation mechanism is concerned. Then the last important terminology is vigilance parameter. So it is denoted by P. It is generally used in adaptive resonance theory. So these are the important parameters or terminology which we are using under artificial neural network. And here there are 5 different basic models are available. So here single layer feed forward network and multi-layer feed forward network and single node with its own feedback and single layer with recurrent network and multi-layer recurrent network, right? So these are the different basic models which are available under artificial neural network. So these I am not going to touch upon these in detail because in subsequent unit, so you'll be discussing more about this basic model. Just I am giving these are the basic models available in neural network, right? And again, so how we can classify this basic model? So the basic model is classified based on two important parameter. One is called training and learning rule to adjust the weight parameter, and another one is either you can go for adjusting the activation function, right? So and the important technology as far as artificial neural network is concerned, so the back propagation models are very very important technologies, right? So this back propagation, that for doing a multiple number of training if you want to perform, then back propagation algorithm is very very suitable for training this, right? And when you talk about application, so here we can monitor air traffic control system, animal behavior and prediction, and data mining, cleaning and validating our data. So all these things can be, right, treated as application for this artificial neural network, right? I'm not going to deal, right, in detail about all these things because it is an introduction part. Then the second one is fuzzy logic, right? So in this fuzzy logic we are going to discuss these topic. So what is the introduction about fuzzy logic? So what is the difference between crisp set and fuzzy set, and how we can create a crisp relation and with the fuzzy relation, and what is a Cartesian product of the relation and classical relation, and how we can define fuzzy relation, and what is the meaning of tolerance and equivalence relation, and what is the meaning of non-iterative fuzzy set. So as far as fuzzy logic is concerned, right? So it is a superset of conventional logic. So what is the meaning of conventional logic is, yeah, I already told it is a Boolean logic. So what is a Boolean logic? It is a true or false is the Boolean logic. Either it can be said as a true, that is true or false, or 0 and 1. Right? So within that, that is the reason why 0 and 1 as the superset, and fuzzy logic is comes under this conventional or Boolean logic. And here it is, fuzzy logic is similar to Boolean logic in that Boolean logic results are returned by fuzzy logic operation when all fuzzy memberships are restricted to 0 and 1. That is the reason why. So if you want to find out the value or the range or the output or the membership function between 0 and 1, then it is right derived from Boolean logic, that is nothing but a conventional logic, and that derived value between 0 and 1 is called as a fuzzy logic. So this fuzzy logic provides a simple way to arrive at a definite conclusion based upon vague, ambiguous, imprecise, noisy or missing input information. That is the reason why I told the soft computing is not deadline based, right? Not focusing accurate result, right? So if you have a imprecise value or missing data, even then you can get some output, right? That is the reason why this fuzzy logic is comes under soft computing mechanism. So what is a crisp set? So we know very well that it is a collection of objects. So what is a classical set which we are using in right normal mathematical concept, that is called as a crisp set. Classical set as well as a crisp set are same. So a classical set is a collection of distinct objects. Right? This classical set is also called as a crisp set. So different types of operations we can perform with classical set or crisp set. You know very well that you can perform union. So I am declaring right A is a one set and it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4. And B is another set. It will be consist of 5, 6. So when you apply this operation union, so here the set C is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a union. And if there is a common element is there in intersection and complement of this one. So for A's complement it is 5, 6. For B's complements it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that different operations can be applied for crisp set. We know very well that we have studied those type of the classical set from the 4th or 5th standard itself. We know the concept about this classical set. And here the another thing is fuzzy set. So we know very well, I already told the values, the membership functions are lies between 0 and 1, right? So it is not a completed value like classical set. It is a value which lies between 0 and 1. So here how we can identify the values between 0 and 1 is by using a membership function. So the membership in a fuzzy set need not be complete. That is the reason why I told the partial data, even with partial data we can do a right analysis. So member of one fuzzy set is also a member of another fuzzy set in the same universe. Right? So point 2 is available in set A. The same point 2 is available in set B also. Right? That is the concept behind this member. A member can be in both set. A fuzzy set can be analogous to the thinking of intelligent people. So if a person has to be classified as friend or enemy, the intelligent people will not, sorry, here it is not, resort to absolute classification as friend or enemy. So if a person is an intelligent person, he cannot declare immediately another person is a friend or enemy. Right? He'll be right based on situation, he will consider him as a friend or consider him as an enemy. Is it not? So that type of thing is associated with fuzzy set. So either we cannot say right 60% he is an enemy, right? 40% he may be a friend. That type of classification will be done by the intelligent people. Simply the other people and all simply declare he is a friend or he is a enemy. Right? But intelligent people will say that okay 60% he is okay, only 40% he is not good, like that. Is it not? So that type of classification can be possible in the case of fuzzy set. It is not possible in the case of what? Crisp set. That is the advantage of having fuzzy set. And when you talk about Cartesian product, right? So I am taking two set. You can have n number of set or r number of set. So since Cartesian is represented by r, they have mentioned r. So you can have any number of set. So when the value is 2, here r is 2. So a1 and a2. a1 is one set, a2 is another set. So these two are set. That is the reason why it has been given as x and y are the two sets, universal set. When you apply Cartesian product of x and y, so you will be the subset are all combined together. So whatever I told, x is having 1, 2, 3, y is having 5, 6. Then the Cartesian product of x and y is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Is it not? This is called, you can make a relation with the Cartesian product of two different universal set. That is also possible. So here you can see, right, different operations we can do: union, intersection, containment. That is, we are checking whether it is there, right? Whatever the element which is available in B is also available, because I told already, right? Yeah, element can be available in both. Is it not? So I am checking whether it is a containment or identity. Both elements, that is the element which is available in US A and B, are same or not. That is called as an identity. All is possible. So here you can see that PQR is a one set and 2, 4, 6 is another set. So if you take 4, so it is also associated with Q as well as it is associated with R. That is possible in the case of fuzzy logic, right? And what is the meaning of fuzzy relation? So fuzzy relation relate the element of one universe, say X, to those another universe. And we can generate a Cartesian product and we can perform different operation. That's why I told under Cartesian product itself, X is one universal variable and Y is another universal variable. When you do the Cartesian product of these two and apply different operation, these operation, and you can process the information. It is also possible for getting a proper output, right? And here the another important concept about the fuzzy logic is tolerance and equivalence relations. So when you talk about tolerance and equivalence relations, there are three important characteristics we need to focus. One is called reflexivity, and second one is a symmetry, and third one is transitivity. So what is the meaning of reflexive, right? So a relation is said to be reflexive, right, if the node in the graph is originate a single loop as shown in figure. So it is pointing itself, right? So here you can see 1, 2, 3. There are three nodes, and the relationship, when you apply a relationship, the result of the relationship is also pointing to itself. Then it is called as a reflexive relation. The output of the relation is pointing itself. Then it is called as a reflexive relation. And another thing is, the second important characteristics or property of this equivalence or tolerance and equivalence relation is symmetry. So what is the meaning of symmetry? So for example, if you take node 2, right? So if there is a edge pointing node 1, there is a relationship between 2 and 1, right? So always there should be a relation between 1 and 2 also. Then that type of relation is called as a symmetric relation. That is, if 2 is having some relation with 1, then automatically 1 is also having a relation with 2. So that is called as a symmetric relation, right? And third one is very important. It is a transitive, right, relation. What is the meaning of transitive relation? If you take three parameter or three variable, right? Your vertex represent, assume that this three variable. Let us assume this is I, this is J, and this is K, right? So I is having a relation with J. J is having a relation with K. So obviously K is also having a relation with I. This is called as a transitive relation. One is, right, having a relation with 3, 3 is having a relation with 2, and in turn 2 is also having a relation with 1. So this type of relation, making a relationship in a triangle manner, is also called as a transitive relationship. So these are the 3 important property, or we can say that relationship that can be established by using a fuzzy logic, right? And the last one is non-iterative fuzzy set. So here, what is the meaning of non-iterative? The independent event in probability theory or analogous to right interactive fuzzy set in fuzzy theory. So there is no correlation between set A to set B. Then it is called as a non-iterative or non-interactive fuzzy set, right? So here we are defining a fuzzy set A, and in a space X, that is X1 or X2 or A and B. Here I have given A. So here it is two distinct one, right? So in that case it is called as a non-iterative or non-interactive, right, fuzzy set. Right? There is no correlation between these two sets. Then that type of set is called as a non-interactive or non-iterative fuzzy set. So these are the basic introduction about fuzzy logic. Then next one is we are going to discuss about genetic algorithm. So when you discuss about genetic algorithm, we are going to discuss about introduction and what is the biological background about this genetic algorithm and the traditional optimization searching techniques as well as genetic basic concepts. So here, when you talk about genetic algorithm, so GA, we can represent genetic algorithm also like GA, right, is an adaptive heuristic search algorithm based on the evolutionary idea of natural selection and genetics. So it is purely correlated with human being, right? So here we can apply a different types of heuristic search algorithm, right? So we'll see what is the meaning of heuristic later on, right? So by using that heuristic search algorithm, that is hill climbing, right, gradient descent, so all are called as a heuristic search algorithm. We can use those search algorithm, we can get some output. So as such, they represent an intelligent exploitation of random search used to solve optimization problem, right? So here uh, this historical information to direct the search into the region of better performance within the search space. So that is again, if you see this genetic algorithm also, right? So if I am applying one type of algorithm, it may give 75% result. If I apply different algorithm for the same concept, it may give 81% result. So we cannot say that this algorithm is suitable for this application. Right? Purely performance will vary according to the searching technique which we are going to apply. And here also it won't give 100% result. What is our aim? We wanted to maximize the result. So what is the biological background about this genetic algorithm? So the science that deals with this genetic algorithm mechanism is responsible for identifying the similarity and differences in a species called, right, genetics. So the word genetic is derived from the Greek word genesis, meaning to grow or to become, right? So our human body is having multiple number of genes. So we can understand the gene pattern so that we can predict what is the human behavior, right? What type of person he is. So what is the skin color? Why he is having this skin color like this, right? What is the genetic traits? Or we can say that he is that in right these people are having these type of diseases, and whether the new generation will get this disease or not. What is the percentage of that type of genetic right is there, so that he will be getting that particular disease or not because of having heredity. Those type of analysis can be done by using this genetic algorithm. So the science of generic help us to differentiate between heredity and variations and accounts for the resemblances and differences during the process of evaluation. When you study, right, the genetic pattern, you can say that this much of percentage of resemblance is there with his grandfather, right? So these are the differences. These are in these parameter, this person is having a difference with grandfather. Like that we can do a analysis. So that is the reason why this genetic algorithm is directly derived from a natural evolution and heredity. So when you talk about this genetic algorithm, right? So all the genetic information gets stored in chromosomes. So we know very well that so our human being will be having more than 25,000 genes or there in our human body, and it is right grouped together or stored together as a chromosome. So each chromosome is built of DNA structure. So based on the DNA structure only, we are going to write these chromosomes are built. These chromosomes are divided into several parts, right? Under this chromosome only, the genes are arranged. And if you talk about a set of all genes combined together for a specific species is called as a genome, right? So when you talk about, I am doing an analysis on genome, that is nothing but analyzing the entire set of genes which is available in the human body. It is purely depends on the requirement. For example, I wanted to identify or a particular person is affected with, right, cancer or not. Then in that case, I cannot test on one set of gene. The entire human gene has to be analyzed. Right? For that, I can go for genome analysis. Right? So a particular person is having certain disease. For example, he is having a sugar complaint. Then in that case, I need not analyze the entire gene. So I will be taking certain gene and I am doing a analysis. So for that, it is called as a gene analysis. Right? It is purely based on application as well as requirement. And here, the how we can do this analysis. So by using a traditional optimization searching technique. So one of the technique is gradient based local optimization method. So here when objective function is smooth and one needs efficient local optimization, it is you better to use gradient based or Hessian based optimization method. For example, right, for predicting a stack value, right? So I'll be doing a stock marketing, and I wanted to find out a particular script during particular period of time whether it will increase or decrease. So the whole day, right? I'm calculating so many number of local minimum value and then accumulating all together. It can be say it is a global optimized value. For example, a script value started in 100 rupees, right? It may come down to 90 at one period of time. Again it will go, it will reach 102 and then again it will come down to 91. Again it will go, right? Again it will come down to 89. So here 91, right? 92 as well as 89, these three are called as a local minimum. And here the global minimum is when you compare all three, right, in evening, you can identify that you will be having three different local minimum. One is right 90 and another one is 92, right, 91 or 92 and another one is 89. So in that 89 is the global minimum, right? So by using this gradient based local optimization method, so we can apply this searching method to identify the global minimum and local minimum for any type of application. For understanding purpose, I told you the stock marketing as an example. And another one is random search. It is extremely basic method. So just we are selecting any parameter randomly. I am taking one parameter and from that parameter I am going to evaluate the fitness function. Right? So there is no mechanism for selecting a particular element. So randomly I am choosing one element and I am going to get the output. So if I choose some other value, then it may give different result also. We cannot predict, right? It is a very basic methodology as far as this random search is concerned. And the next one is stochastic hill climbing. This method is used for gradient to guide the direction of search. So I will be searching, I will be starting from one point, and when I reach another point, I will be accumulating, collecting information from the surrounding point, and I am adjusting the point. Is it not? So this is called stochastic hill climbing. Right? Doing a local processing. Right? Moving from one point to another point, and there I will be doing a local optimization so that I will be adjusting the point in such a way that I will be getting a output. That is called stochastic hill climbing technique. So these are the searching techniques that are available under genetic algorithm. Right? So now we will see the MCQ questions related to this first unit. Wait a minute. So the same, the first unit syllabus topic is mentioned here. So here, as far as this first unit is concerned, right? So soft computing is also called as, right, neurofuzzy system, right? It is not associated with neural network, fuzzy logic, or this one. I already told. So it can be neurofuzzy, fuzzy genetic, or genetic neuro, right? So in this four, neurofuzzy system is nothing but comes under soft computing. Integration of what? Different technology, right? If it is a neural network, we will say it is a neural network. So if it is a fuzzy logic, it is fuzzy logic. But soft computing is combination of neural network, fuzzy logic, and genetic. All three need not be there. I already told, right? Any combination, these three can be integrated. Then it is called as a soft computing. So as far as this one is concerned, third is the correct answer, right? Then what is the second question? Second question is soft computing helps to learn the environment, which is what? Whether it is having a certainty and precision, that values needed, right? Exact value, right? If you know the exact value, then only you can able to process. No, right? So whether it is uncertainty, imprecision, no. So here uncertainty as well as imprecision, right? So if you do not know the 100% input parameter, even then you can able to process, right? So if the value is wrong, even then you can process this soft computing, right? You can get the output by using a soft computing. So uncertainty and imprecision is the correct answer. And conventional AI is also called as, right? So here conventional AI, I already told it is a physical symbol representation, right? Visualizing the information. We are, for example, if it is a dog, then dog image will be given and we wanted to predict, right, what it is. Is it not? So visualization. So here the visualization is nothing but the physical symbol system hypothesis. We are concluding the hypothesis by seeing the images. That is called physical symbol system. Conventional AI is also called as a physical symbol system hypothesis. Why it is called as a hypothesis? So it is not 100% correct. So if it is 90% the images look like a dog, then we are accepting, right? That is the reason why it is called as a hypothesis. Then the fourth one is long-term goal of artificial intelligence is understand of dash. So what is the aim of this long-term goal of artificial intelligence? So what is the next level of artificial intelligence? Whether it is a human intelligence, computational intelligence, machine intelligence, or none of the above. So the next level of artificial intelligence is machine intelligence. So we are making the initially, right, artificial intelligence, right? The next level is making the machine to behave like a human being. That is a machine intelligence. And the fifth one is cybernetics means, right? So here the cybernetics means study of human and machine, right? Integrating human and machine, or whatever the concept or behavior, right, that human is having, that will be incorporated in machine. So that is the reason why we are using a robotics now. So it will be behaving like a human being. So that it is a cybernetics is the study of human as well as machine. Then what is ANN stands for? So you know very well that it is a artificial neural network. So second one is the correct answer, right? Then seventh one, trained neural network is called, right? So for example, I told knowledge base. So all the facts and parameters, rules, facts and rules are available in our knowledge base. Then that knowledge base is called as an expert system. Because we are saying a certain people as an expert. How we are saying? Right? He is the person, he is expert in network. How we are saying? He knows entire concept about, right, network. Is it not? So here the trained neural network is completely 100% trained neural network is called as an expert system. So here the first one is the correct answer. Eighth one, unsupervised learning means, right? So whether it is having a target function, no, unsupervised learning doesn't have any target function. So here 8, without target function. 2 is the correct answer. And ninth one, reinforcement learning is also called as what? Reward learning. Right, in the PPT we have seen it is also called as a reward learning. Right, because it is a step-by-step process. So when you complete the first task, you will be getting some reward. When you complete the second task, you will be getting some rewards. So that is the reason why it is called as a reward learning. And the 10th one, weight contains information about what? Weight contains information about input signal. So we are multiplying the input value with the input signal. Signal is nothing but the weight. So it will be associated with input signal. Then what is ART stands for? ART I told adaptive resonance theory. Right? ART stands for adaptive resonance theory. It is one type of application which we are using artificial neural network. Then 12th one, fuzzy logic is also called as Boolean logic because it is derived from the conventional logic, right? Boolean logic. 13th question, the short variable in fuzzy logic is called as, right? What is the meaning of short variable? So the short variable of fuzzy logic is called as linguistic variable. For example, I told the fuzzy logic will be derived the answer between 0 and 1, right? So the short variable is, for example, 0.2, 0.4. So these are called as a linguistic variable which lies between 0 and 1. So those variable, the 0.2, 0.4, 0.8, 0.9, right? 9.25, right? Those variables are called as a linguistic variable. The value which is available between 0 and 1 is called as a linguistic variable. That variable is also called as a short variable in fuzzy logic. And here the membership function in fuzzy logic is represented as mu. Right? We know very well that we will be creating a several membership function. So what is the meaning of membership function? Different rules we will generate. All these rules are generally represented. The general membership function is represented by mu. Right? The first one is the correct answer. And 15th one, right? So classical set is also called as, we know very well, classical set is also called as a crisp set. Then 16th one, reflexive relation means there are three important fuzzy relations we have discussed, is it not? Equivalence relations. What are they? Reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So what is the meaning of reflexive relation? So here vertex will pointing itself is called as a reflexive. It is a mirror. Is it not? So here pointing itself, pointing others, pointing to vertex, none of the above. Pointing itself is the correct answer. 16, first one. Then 17th one. So transitive relation is also called as, I told, triangular, right? We have seen. Is it not? It is a cyclic relation. Is it not? I pointing to J, J pointing to K, again K pointing to I. So it is a cyclic relation. So transitive relation is also called as a cyclic relation. Then 18th one. So non-iterative fuzzy set is also called as what? It is also called as a orthogonal set. A non interactive or iterative fuzzy set is also called as a orthogonal set. And what is GA stands for? You know very well, GA is genetic algorithm. Then 20th question. So mechanism responsible for identifying similarity and differences in GA is called. How we can identify the similarity and differences in genetic algorithm? By using genetics, right? So it is by using a genetic. Genetics represent either it may be a gene or it may be a genome. So entire gene we wanted to analyze, then it is called genome verification. So a part of the gene alone we are going to verify, then it is called as a gene analysis. Is it not? Genetic is represented either a gene or genome. So genetic is the correct answer. So all genetic informations are stored in where? So we have seen in chromosome. Am I correct? 21 chromosome. DNA stands for, right? For 22, DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Right? The first one is the correct answer. Then 23rd, the chromosomes are divided into several parts that are called as a what? The entire chromosomes will be divided into so many number of genes, right? The third one is the correct answer, right? Genes of a specific species are called, right? So if suppose a human body is consist of so many number of genes, all genes combined together, I told there are 25,000, right? Genes are available in each and every human body. All genes are combined together is called as a genome, right? Then the last one is what is called population, right? So population is nothing but collection of human or collection of individual, collection of chromosome, none of them. So population means collection of individuals. So here either individual may be an animal or human being or whatever it may be, right? Any individual information is called as a population, collection of individuals. Either it may be, it is not necessary collection of human being is called as a population, right? The group of animals, right? Group of buffalo, group of cow, right? Everything can be called as a collection of individuals or called as a population, right? So these are the things which we have discussed as far as this soft computing is concerned. So you know very well it is a integrated approach called as a soft computing, where we discussed the introduction concept about artificial neural network, fuzzy logic, as well as a genetic algorithm. Please revise the topic again, right? Not only focus this MCQ, you just go through the PPT, understand the basic concept. It is a very vast portion, so that I cannot dealt with all topic in detail, but even then you go through the PPT also, so that if right you can get good marks in your examination. Thank you very much one and all. Please if you are interested, right, if you are right happy with our right presentation, and please like as well as subscribe our channel, so that in future you can get all current information which we are updating in our channel will be reflected with you. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.